Hi everyone, my name is Urso. Welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to show you how you can make your own mining rig that gets you 120 mega hashes for pretty cheap. So let's get right into it. Alright, so first what you're going to need is a power supply, power switch, RAM, CPU, GPU, SSD, motherboard, GPU risers, and a mining rig case. You'll also need a monitor, keyboard and mouse, an HDMI cable and stuff like that. However, you can probably get those on your own. If not, you can probably just pick them up really cheap at like a thrift store or something like that. So I'm not really going to include this on this list because most of these items you'll be able to just buy online anyways for a pretty good price. So first off, we are looking at the power supply. I chose this one on Amazon. Everything I'm just basing off Amazon. Now I recommend you get everything on eBay or somewhere used probably like that, because more than likely you can get a better deal. But for making things simple, I'm just gonna go all through Amazon, so you can just click these links if you want to just do that instead. So the EVJ power supply has 1,000 watts. It's semi-module. If it's not really suiting your needs, I would just get the Corsair 1,000 watt power supply. It's fully module and everything, and lots of people have really good success with that, so I'd recommend that as an alternative if this one doesn't suit your needs. Second thing is a power switch. Again, this is just from Amazon and it's just $6. You can also get them on eBay. The one I ordered was $2. I mean, it's a cheaper one than this, but they all do the same thing. It's essentially just a button that you press and it turns on your machine, since you won't be using a standard computer case to turn on your computer, so you use these switches instead to do it. Third off is the RAM. I chose the cheapest DDR4 RAM, and I'll get to why I chose DDR4 in a little bit. It's $35 and it's running at 2400 MTS a second. It seems to be the best one on Amazon for the price. It has great reviews and it'll be in stock real soon, so make sure to check that out. The CPU I'll be using is the Intel Celeron. It uses the LGA 1151 socket. It's running at 2.9 gigahertz with 2 cores. I'm not going to talk too much about it, simply because I feel like when we come to mining, most of us aren't CPU mining, so I'm really not putting forward much effort to find the best processor. I'm just trying to find a processor that is cheap but fits the motherboard socket. Now this is the GPU I have chosen for this specific build. You can replace this with anything you'd like though. I chose to use the R7 370. I still think it is the best go-to GPU when everything else is pretty much out of stock. It runs at 20 mega hashes for Ubiq. You can get 2 or 4 gigabyte versions. Both are fine for Ubiq, as the DAG file for Ubiq is much smaller than Ethereum in general, so you'll be just fine. It's only around $120 if we look at these past recent sold listings on eBay for this card. I'm running 3 of them and I've had great luck with both the 2 and 4 gigabyte versions, so no worries about that. However, I don't really recommend this card for standard Ethereum mining anymore. At only 11 mega hashes, I feel like there's just better options out there for the money. Next off is the SSD. I basically just chose the cheapest SSD you could possibly get for the price on Amazon. This one is 128 gigabytes. It has pretty good read and write speeds, and for the most part I think it's a pretty good SSD because I use their products and I've had really good luck with them. Next is the motherboard. Now I chose this motherboard over the ASRock BTC motherboard. Reason being was it's cheaper and they're not out of stock. Like, you can still buy them pretty much everywhere, and they also support up to 6 GPUs as well. And it's had really good reviews. It uses the LGA 1151 socket, so the Intel Celeron processor that I listed here and I'll also have in the description will work for this motherboard. You could also use i3, i5, i7 as well, as long as it still fits that socket. Next is the GPU risers. These ones were $36 on Amazon. Yep, right here. They are almost out of stock, so more than likely by the time you see this, they'll either be in stock again or you'll have to choose an alternative. For now, again, I still recommend going through eBay for about everything you see on this video because I feel like you can get a better price from there. Otherwise, see if you can get it locally from maybe like Craigslist or something like that instead. Lastly, you need a mining rig case. I personally just recommend to build your own. I personally built my own. I went to Menards and just picked up all the pieces that I needed. I put them together, and that only costed me $25. However, it also took a couple of hours of my time. So depending on how much you value your time, I would recommend just building it yourself instead of buying it, as most places are going to charge over $100 per mining rig case, when in reality the materials they use is just not worth what they're charging. Most rig cases will support up to 6 GPUs based on its size. That's kind of just like the standard for most people. However, you can always adjust that if you build it yourself. Let's see. Now the grand total for pretty much of how much everything is going to cost is $1,178 for 120 mega hashes if you're buying all the pieces, the mining rig case, the motherboard, the RAM, CPU, you know, so on. Now if you just want the GPUs alone, that's $720. And that's around 17 cents per mega hash. Now you might be comparing to why I chose the R7 370 over the RX 580. Reason being was if I were to get the same mega hashes, so 120, that would cost me around $1,520 for the same amount of hash power, but for a totally different price. It's about double, so that's why I really chose the R7 370. Both cards are pretty good with power consumption, so that's also something to keep in mind. Now, if you just found that even though, you know, $720 or $1,200 was just way out of your budget, I'd recommend going through these alternatives. You can get eBay mining contracts. I'm sure there's stuff on Craigslist somewhere. I would recommend Genesis Mining or Hashflare. Now these, you won't be able to mine specifically Ubiq, but you could always mine a different coin and then trade them for Ubiq if you wanted to do that. So that's really the best options that you have if you're just not really feeling to mine yourself. And I mean, that pretty much wraps up this video. I'll have all the links in the description below. I really recommend you buy third party or used from someone, as you're going to get a bigger discount as if you were to go through Amazon, more than likely in most cases. So that wraps up this video. Guys, if you like this video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.